if you're running a business today, then you're feeling the effects of a slowing and transitioning economy. So today, I brought the smartest CPA on the planet back on the show to talk about how to manage your money through this economy. Let's get into it. This episode is brought to you by Rife Martin CPA, which means we have Alison Rife Martin on the show today. What's going on, Alison?
Well, I can't believe we're getting through to the end of the year and we have less than 13 weeks to go?
Is it
Oh my
that?
gosh.
Man, that's it? 13 weeks?
Yeah. Can you believe it?
That's,
Actually, no, Ella, maybe 15.
yeah, yeah.
15 weeks or so, but regardless, the year already feels like it's over and we should be thinking about next year. So,
I know, right? I can't wait for sweater season. I love the fall.
oh, I'm already prepared. I'm wearing mine. So,
Well,
oh my gosh.
so today it's a good topic. We're talking about slowing economy, time for reflection, right? Time to think through how you're doing things. I don't know. I sort of see like slowdowns in the economy as like an opportunity to like refresh and renew and rethink so that when things start back up again, you will be positioned to uh, move through things better. I mean, assuming you take the time to do the work.
Exactly. Exactly. I was actually going to say, as you were saying this is actually what you should be doing when you're planning ahead to next year anyway. This is, and it's about the time that most businesses will start thinking, what do I want to do, for my business as we move into the next year? And that kind of too, as you see, as you're talking about a slowing down or a transitioning economy, what should we do? I think today's topic was about managing cash and what do you do? And we've talked about this one before, but it bears repeating, I guess is the right cliche. You should always think to have at least enough cash to cover between 3 and 6 months of operating expenses. And if you sit there and think with having 15 weeks left, that's about, that's at least 3 months right there. So go back to your bank account and see what you have on hand. Can you do enough while batten down the hatches or all that great stuff? So I think that's important one thing or one to think about.
And what does that do? Like when you've seen business owners that have ample reserves, however they hold it, like um, does it help them be more strategic, or like how does it help them in tough periods when everybody else is panicking?
That's pretty much it. It's like, you have a well that you can go to. You don't go to the well and say, "Oh my gosh, the well is dry." Because I don't have, and again, the other thing too is you have enough, if you have employees, in order to be able to serve your customers, you have to be able to provide for them as well. So it's very important to make sure that you have sufficient cash to be able to provide for the customers or for the employees who are helping to serve your customers. Because in a time of transitioning economies, if you still aren't there to serve your customers, they're going to go to, your customers going to go somewhere else.
You got it. And how do you recommend like business owners manage that balance, right? Because they're like, I don't want to have too much reserves because I'm not being offensive, but I want to have enough. And I know you gave like a basic benchmark, but are there any other ways that you can help people just think through, you know, you know, how do I get the reserves while also like being aggressive?
Well, so the most important thing would be to say pay yourself first, or, obviously after you've taken care of all of your operating expenses, make sure you just what the profit I would set aside in a bank account. Be it I mean, I would pick some kind of like interest-bearing vehicle, like maybe a money market account or a 3 month CD or, something like that. I mean, I think a financial advisor would be in a better position to tell you how to invest your money. But um, again, just focus on if your monthly operating expenses are 50 grand a month, you should have uh, $300,000 worth of cash on hand. And then that way you won't panic and you can sit there and think, how can we make sure that we're out in front of customers so they remember us?
Got it. And how do you feel? I would think like, given where we are in the transitionary period, would you say it's probably better to lean more towards building reserves now than not? Like outside of the fact where you go, oh, I got 100 grand and I could put the 100 grand into this thing and for sure get 50 grand back in 3 months, right? That's an obvious like do that, but I'm just saying,
Right.
you know, if it's a I
Yeah,
think I can, then it's probably better to like get to that number first, right?
exactly. And I was thinking, again, a financial advisor would say better than me, but I would say you want to make sure it's easily accessible funds. So don't tie it up in a 6 month CD
Right.
because there's penalties, if you withdraw it early or don't invest it in a bond because, again, it's hard to take the money out kind of
Mm-hmm.
a thing. So just I, I would say at the minimum, put it in a checking account,
Mm-hmm.
but make sure it's earning some money for you.
Yeah. And then what about like unpredictable cash flows, right? Like what, if you're like in a business where your revenues are unpredictable, like how do you even forecast your ability to plan out these savings or investing in the business?
Well, hopefully you've looked at your financials on a regular basis and you can, while people say it's unpredictable, revenue is predictable because you kind of know like the peaks and valleys of your business industry's season. So like, what do they say in real estate? Death Valley for real estate is January through March, and then people start wanting to buy homes in April through June. So you can kind of predict
Mm-hmm.
that, okay, January through March are going to be lean months, you know, kind of
Mm-hmm.
a thing. So just go back and look at the trend of your revenue so you can say, okay, um, we know in January it's going to be maybe a leaner month. Okay, what do we do? You know,
Got
do
it.
we
So,
have enough to get us through January?
so it's really unpredictable for the people that have not been
Yeah,
tracking
exactly. The
it.
best way to make sure it's unpredictable is to stick your head in the sand and not pay attention, you know?
I don't know. I don't know where that came from, man. It only, I
Yeah.
guess my bank records do show it comes every December, but
Yeah.
it just
I mean,
that's funny.
oh my gosh. But yeah, I think that's so, what I would say to do also now too is do you have a 16-week cash flow forecast?
Mm,
And so where you can, keep track of, you can say, here's how much money I have today. Here's what's coming up. Oh, and then in 3 months, that's when my annual property tax payments due. Okay, how do I meet, it helps having it written down. Or what have I heard too? You can't manage what you don't measure.
mm.
So, and think of how that takes the anxiety out of knowing that, this is coming up, plan for it.
Right, right. That's cool. Look, I'm always trying to find fun ways to play with AI, but I bet, and it's probably built in the QuickBooks, and you probably already know, but I bet you can take your statement, your P&L, upload it to AI, and then say, hey, like project out my cash flows, based on like my trend, right? And give me an idea of what my balance sheets, what my cash will look like in 4 months. And it can probably do it real easy. But I feel like that's probably built into QuickBooks too, right?
I was gonna say it's getting better at it. Um, I'm not supposed to say out loud that I just like the tried and true spreadsheet, but I really do like the tried and true spreadsheet because the report, you have to actually sit there and think about it. Again, and the computer is only as good as the information you put in
Mm-hmm.
it.
Yeah.
So if you don't reconcile your books on a regular basis, if you don't enter the transactions in, the computer isn't going to know that, whoops, you paid your property tax always in January kind of a thing, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's why I like to personally use AI because once you put it in there, it can store it in its memory,
Hmm.
and then you can kind of tweak and iterate it. So I'm hoping
I,
QuickBooks like just
I
plugs
will
into
confess, I
OpenAI.
know it's not accounting, tax, or math, but I like how it will figure out your voice. So
Mm.
it'll talk back to you like, talk back to you like it's like, oh, oh, you always talk in this way, and that's the same tone you'll get back. I think that's kind of cool.
It does, right? Yeah, my voice is like a black guy's voice, obviously, and he has a very soothing voice. And he start like you said, I was talking to him yesterday, and I was like, this guy talks like me now, you know. But
I, I was going to say mine is always, oh, Allison, great question. Thank you so much for asking me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, do I talk like that?
yes, I'm done talking to humans. I'm only talking to AI from
Yeah,
now on.
exactly.
Anyway, let everybody know they can reach you if they want more information on planning
Oh
out their
my,
business
oh my
finances.
gosh. You can reach me at my website, rifemartincpa.com, or you can email me at info@rifemartinaccounting.com. And I would love to talk with you about better ways to help you manage your cash or tax or accounting. But
Thanks.
this was a fun episode.
It was. Thanks for sharing.
Thanks so much. Have a great day.
Philip Washington Jr. is a registered investment advisor. Information presented is for educational purposes only and does not intend to make an offer or solicitation for the sale or purchase of any specific securities, investments, or investment strategies. Investments involve risk and, unless otherwise stated, are not guaranteed. Be sure to first consult with a qualified financial advisor and/or tax professional before implementing any strategy discussed herein. Past performance is not indicative of future performance.